All right, today's second review is going to be of The Village, which I gave a 7 out of 10 to. Now, I haven't seen this movie in years, and I feel like kind of like a Mandela effect scene. Now, I think maybe I'm getting like the Scary Movie 3 scene mixed up with one of the scenes from this movie where there's like a reveal of the creatures. But yeah, I'm thinking I'm getting two movies mixed up somehow. But anyhow, I gave this a 7 out of 10. Like I thought it was good. Like I do like M Night Shyamalan's work, but just this one was not the best M Night Shyamalan movie. Like I've seen some better ones from him, but I mean this was I guess 2004, so this probably would have been like maybe one of his first projects that I'd ever seen. I don't know whether this was like one of his first projects to begin with, but it was one of the first ones I think I ever saw. Now, not to say that it didn't have its creepy vibes, but I just feel like there could have been more that they potentially there was more that they could have done with the film to give it a bit more oomph, I guess maybe is what I'm trying to say. But anyway, quite a star-studded cast. Now I'm not sure like how many of these guys like I think some of them might have been kind of like up and coming when this film came out. Don't quote me on that, but yeah. Obviously, some of them were well established at that point, but yeah, some of them might not have been quite as well established. So Sigourney Weaver as Alice Hunt. Obviously, we know her as like Ripley from the Alien series. So yeah, we know she had been around for a while by 2004. William Hurt, who played Edward Walker. Joaquin Phoenix, who played Lucius Hunt. Bryce Dallas Howard played Ivy Walker. Adrian Brody, who played Noah Percy. Brendan Gleeson, who played August Nicholson. Where was I? Judy Greer, who played Kitty Walker. And then Jesse Eisenberg, who played Jameson. Those were the most standout characters to me anyway. Now, there were other ones, obviously. But yeah, those were the most standout. So the film opens pretty powerfully with a father crying beside his son's casket. And then what sounds like horns can be heard in the distance. And then two women sweeping the porch bury a red flower. So it kind of like everything is a little bit symbolic in the opening of the film, I guess. Like kind of like foreshadowing a little bit of maybe what is happening in this small village or small town, if you want to call it that. And everybody seems kind of like almost stuck in like a certain time period because when you get to the end of the movie and they talk about like the towns, it almost seems like they're living in like I don't want to say like maybe like pioneer times almost in a sense, or maybe even older than that. And then like the towns is like slowly like advancing. So it's almost like they've cut themselves off from the rest of the world, essentially is what they've done. Now, they talk about like the older people being like the elders and trying to keep everybody safe. Now, I'm not exactly sure. It seems like they're not run by money, so it almost seems peaceful besides like these creatures that could potentially attack them. Now, this is just all myth. I guess the creatures haven't attacked in years because, according to the teacher there, sorry, my bad. According to Edward, they don't go into the forest, and the creatures don't come into the valley. It's kind of like I guess, treaty that they've kind of, or like some sort of peace treaty that they've kind of come to agreement with over the years. I guess, the creatures don't touch them if they don't touch the creatures, right? Sort of thing. Um, so I guess, don't go onto their land and they won't come onto yours, sort of thing. Like it's a territory thing. Now, of course, everybody seems to be wearing like yellow when they're close to like the town's border. So they don't really explain that until like almost the end of the film when Ivy goes into the forest to save Lucius, and they're talking about like yellow being the color of like safety, basically. They say it in another way, but anyway, hell, we'll get into that a little bit later. Um, so one of the townsfolk does ask to go into the wood to find medicine, after one of the children dies from illness. So I guess the father from the beginning of the movie had his son die from illness, I guess, and it seems like there's some sort of something plaguing like that small village or small town, right? Um, Now it was Lucius, I believe, that had asked to go into the towns, right? Like he was the one that wanted to go through the woods and try to find medicine for all of the people. Like he seems to be the one who cares the most about the town folk, right? Um, so now the town folk believe that some sort of animal is taking out their livestock. Now this seems kind of weird because if it was some sort of animal, you would think it would just drag it away and eat it, but it's leaving the livestock there skinned. So again, not a normal thing for an animal to do. Like just that would be me. I would be thinking logically, right? Like this is not something that an animal would normally do. So what do we have on our hands? Because clearly somebody is just stealing the fur off the animal and then leaving it for dead. Like it's just a very odd that they're like everybody in the town is just like, oh yeah, some sort of animal. Like they just kind of agree with whatever the elders say, right? Like they just kind of go with it. Like they're just like, okay, well if that's what you're saying, it must be true, sort of thing. So yeah, it was just like, oh my god, like how how blind can you be to what's actually happening around you, I guess. And maybe that's because like in this village that's how things have been for so long, so everybody just kind of believed the stories and was in so much fear that they didn't ever want to like enter or exit the town, right? Like they didn't want to ever exit the village because they were so scared of what could happen if they went into the woods, that they just kind of were stuck in fear and just believed whatever everybody else was saying, right? Like you just kind of become a product of the environment, I suppose. With that, yeah. And of course, Lucius was trying to be brave, and you know, he always brought everything to the elders, like any incident that happened. Even Noah, going like he believed Noah was going into the woods. He brought it to the elders when they were at the rock, and he pointed to the one photo or drawing on the rock about where he was finding the berry of the bad color, which was red. So I think that was maybe what the two women buried at the beginning, but it looked like a flower to me, so I'm not really sure. It was one of those two things. Um, so just before that, though, Kitty, uh, oh no, Kitty actually confronts Lucius a little bit before this about claiming that she loves him, but I guess Lucius doesn't feel the same way. So of course Kitty comes home and she's like crying her eyes out. And soon after that, Ivy confronts Lucius about why she or why he denied her sister, and she believes that it's because he still loves her. Um, so yeah, there's quite a bit of tension, obviously, between the two of them. Now, Ivy is blind. I had completely forgotten about that almost until probably about 40 minutes into the film when they actually mention it. When Lucius goes, "How does it feel to be? How does it feel to not see the world as everybody else, to be blind," sort of thing. And she kind of describes it as like when she's seen somebody, it's like a color, and then I guess like when Lucius gets stabbed by Noah there, she says she can no longer see his color. So I thought he was dead at first. That's what I thought. I was like, oh my god, she just found him dead. Like, and they had just agreed to get married. And that whole scene was like very tense between the two of them. So I was like, okay, well, this is a pretty good love story so far. At least they have like that going for them, right? And obviously, like at this point, it seems that everybody's playing this game where they like stand on the tree stump and see how long they can stand at the border of the town before they hear like the creatures coming towards them, and then they run for cover, right, sort of thing. So yeah, there's just a whole bunch of different stuff that's going on in the town that's kind of maybe provoking these creatures from the forest, like Noah going into the forest to pick the berries, Obviously, them playing the game at the border of the town. Now, it seems that they paint the border of the town yellow, and again, everybody wears like these yellow cloaks when they're close to, I guess, ward off the creatures, because it seems like, well, we find out a little bit later on, obviously, that whatever the creatures are, they have like these red cloaks on. So, yeah, it's almost like a good versus evil type thing, essentially, is what I was gathering from it. So where was I here in my notes? So yeah, Lucius tells the elders about Noah going in and finding the berries, but he does believe that because of Noah's innocence, the creatures may not have harmed him, right? So Lucius soon after that does decide to step outside of the border of the village and comes across the berries of the bad color, as well as actually seeing one of the creatures in the forest move, and they move quick. I mean, this thing was motoring. Like, so he gets scared and obviously turns around and walks back immediately, right? Now, that night, one of the guards actually sees the creature go under like his run under his tower. So they had like all these watchtowers set up at the border of the town to, I guess, maybe warn obviously the people if one of the creatures was getting close or one of the creatures decided to cross through the border. So he rings the bell, and of course everybody freaks out, goes into their houses, like locks themselves in their basements. Now Lucius is just able to grab Ivy and take her into her own house and hide her in the basement right before you hear like the creature come in, and like you can hear it rummaging through the house, like it's almost like it's looking for something, right? Um, Now that seemed weird to me, because I was like, how would the creature know, or maybe not know, like where you were hiding, right? Like it wasn't like the best hiding spot in the world just to be like in the basement. Like I almost feel like if it was a creature of that caliber, that was like killing the livestock and so on and so forth, that would probably be able to sniff you out. Just just a thought. Um, So Lucius then tells the village in a note that he has entered the woods and believes he has brought the creatures to them. So he believes he is the reason as to why the creatures decided to cross the border, obviously, because now he has crossed into their territory, so there's no reason for them to not cross into theirs again, right? He's kind of broken that treaty with them. So yeah, they're going to obviously cross the borders, and they leave a warning on everybody's door, like a big red like mark on the doors of everybody's house. Um, so after that, um, yeah, yeah, it was at Kitty's wedding. So Kitty has now found love, and then Ivy talks about, now that her older sister has found a suitor, she is open for marriage. And obviously she's pointing more towards Lucius, right? Like she wants Lucius to finally admit his feelings. Um, so that night, two of the children come to Kitty's wedding ceremony, claiming the creatures are in the village again and have left more warnings. All of the livestock now has been taken and skinned. So yeah, again, very weird. And at this point, finally, everybody is kind of coming to terms with the fact that this isn't just some sort of normal animal. Like, what are they actually dealing with? And um, even Alice says, like it can't be something normal. Like no normal animal can jump that height. Like whatever, whatever animal they were after, like in the barn, sort of thing. Um, so I think it was just shortly after that, yeah. So a meeting is held the next day to question all of the townsfolk about like what had been happening, like what could have led the creatures to attack the town, sort of thing, and like what what order everything was in the last time people had seen it, so on and so forth. So yeah, it was just like a huge amount of questioning for everybody in the town. And then soon after everybody finds out about Lucius and Ivy like confessing their love for one another and getting married, Noah confronts Lucius about it, and he knew that Noah had feelings for Ivy, obviously, but he kind of like tries to let Noah down in like a soft manner and say, there's different kind of love, there's different kinds of love, sort of thing. Like she loves you like a brother, and then all of a sudden he turns around and Noah has stabbed him. Now Noah stabs him a few times, so I was like, okay, he's like he committed once, and then he committed I think a second and third time. So I was like, I don't know if Lucius is gonna make it here, and I didn't remember that scene at all. So Ivy finds Lucius and goes to confront Noah for what he has done. And then that's when Ivy asks herself if she can go through the woods to the towns to bring back medicines for Lucius, because she believes that at this point that's probably the only way to save him, right? So Ivy travels with two others wearing the cloak of the safe color. That's what they called the yellow cloaks. Okay. Um, One of them won't enter the forest at all, and the other says he can't travel any further after. And now, I'm not sure. It was probably only a couple hours because her father had said that it would take about half a day in order to make it there. Now, her father takes her into the one shed that has never been opened, and shows her that the creatures are actually the elders dressed up, and they have been trying to keep everybody in the village like in fear, right? Essentially. So yeah, it's all been a farce this entire time. None of it's been real, and yeah, it's just kind of crazy. Now, he does speak of there being legends of creatures in the forest, so by the time she gets in there by herself and she's traveled for a little while, she starts to kind of go a little stir crazy because she's hearing things, and come to find out that it's actually Noah stalking her in order to take her out as well, and she ends up tricking him and he falls into the hole and dies himself. Now, when Noah's parents find this out, oh my god, I can't think of his name. Sorry, Edward says, now we have like a new hope thanks to your son doing what he did and um, passing away due to it. We can now find, we now have a new meaning. Like we can say that the creature killed him, like blah 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 sort of thing, and now we can keep going on the way we were before if that's how we want to continue. Now obviously I don't think many people are on board with that idea as much as they maybe were before. So yeah, again, I think everybody's kind of like fed up with the whole trying to live in fear type thing, or trying to keep people in fear. I think at this point it's one of those things that yeah, isn't going to be a popular vote with most of the people probably. uh so yeah, again, he shows her that the creatures were fake, and that the elders were responsible for everything. Now she does, yeah, that's when she walks into like the huge patch of berries of the bad color, and she can hear the creature very close to her, like it's right behind her. So I was like, oh my god, like are we gonna find out at the end of this film, because it had been so long since I watched it, like that there is some truth to the creatures being in the forest, and the elders were just ended up mimicking the creatures, and some of them actually were real. They just maybe hadn't ventured far enough into the forest to actually find them yet. That would be kind of that would have been an even crazier twist than it just being Noah at the end of the movie, right? So she is able to, yeah, she is able to trick Noah slash the creature, forcing him to fall into the hole. Now Edward does open one of the boxes that Lucius was looking at, saying that all of the town, like every corner of the town, has secrets, sort of thing, right? Um, and all of these boxes were supposed to be memories of like where they came from, so on and so forth. So everybody came from the towns, it seemed, and was trying to like escape their past life. Now when Ivy goes back into the town, she ends up running into like she ends up running into a police officer who decides to help her. Now it says Walker on the car and the hat, so I believe that maybe it was one of her maybe long lost family members that just decided, that was left behind maybe, or yeah, I'm not really sure, like, exactly. Or it was like um Edward's father's business that had just kind of like obviously maybe expanded over the years, from the sounds of things. Now it seems like there was always death in the towns, and it wasn't like a natural causing death, right? Like it was always like a violent, some sort of shooting or something else that was happening, right? Like there was always something horrific happening in the towns to all of these people that made them want to leave and live a different life, which I could understand, like escaping a world of like greed and violence and all of that, just to live out a peaceful life. But also, they weren't really going about it the right way, right? Trying to keep the people in fear and keeping them kind of complicit with, yeah, it was almost like they were slowly creating the same thing just in a smaller setting. And I feel like eventually things were probably just going to go downhill, right? And it kind of shows, like, obviously Noah stabbing um, Lucius, like everything was kind of slowly spiraling out of control and turning into the old ways of things again for all of these people. So I think some obviously some honesty was needed, right? So she does make it over the borders, and then she does make it and finds Kevin, who offers to help her. Um, Again, yeah, Edward says thanks to Noah that they can continue the way they are, and then Ivy returns and walks into the room and looks at Lucius and says, "You know, I'm back now." You're like basically saying that he's been saved now at this point. But yeah, like it wasn't a horrible movie. It just wasn't my favorite M Night Shyamalan movie, that's for sure. But anyway, that's it for this review. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye for now.